Today, we're exploring the essential elements of competition nutrition, what to eat and drink before, during, and after an event to boost performance and speed up recovery. An athlete's nutrition before, during, and after competition directly impacts their performance, recovery, and readiness for future events. The foods and drinks athletes consume can influence physical and mental stamina, affect energy levels, and help in preventing fatigue and enhancing recovery post-event. For athletes with back-to-back events within a 24-hour window, these choices become even more critical to maintain optimal performance. The main objective of a pre-competition meal is to provide fluid to keep the body hydrated and carbohydrates to fuel both the brain and muscles by boosting blood glucose and glycogen stores. Glycogen, the body's preferred energy source, plays a crucial role during high-intensity activities above 70% VO2 max. Once glycogen stores are depleted, athletes will start to feel fatigued, which can hinder performance. Pre-competition meals should be crafted with each athlete's unique needs and timing in mind, focusing on familiar, low-fat, and low-fiber foods that won't cause gastrointestinal issues. Including moderate protein in the meal also helps keep hunger at bay for longer periods. For athletes concerned about the type of carbohydrates, research shows little difference in performance between high and low glycemic index options, though glucose, a high glycemic carbohydrate, can temporarily drop blood sugar at the onset of exercise. This effect, however, usually balances out within 20 minutes and does not impact performance. The timing of the pre-competition meal is key to avoiding digestive issues while still providing the energy needed to compete. 4 hours before competition, athletes competing in long duration events in the morning, especially aerobic endurance athletes, benefit most from eating carbohydrates several hours before their event. Eating carbohydrates 3 or more hours before competition has been shown to enhance glycogen stores and improve endurance. 2 hours before competition, if the meal is consumed within a tighter time frame, athletes should aim for about 1 gram of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. During events in hot weather, they should consume sports drinks with adequate sodiums and potassium levels to support hydration. 1 hour before competition. Closer to the start time, athletes should keep meals small, focusing on liquid sources of carbohydrates that digest quickly, like sports drinks, gels, or gummies, which can provide fast-acting energy. For those early morning events where eating hours ahead isn't practical, athletes may practice eating small amounts 1 to 2 hours before competing and focus on consuming enough carbohydrates during the event. Carbohydrate intake before long aerobic endurance events is particularly beneficial, especially for athletes who regularly consume carbohydrates in their diets. Studies show that consuming a high carbohydrate pre-competition meal coupled with carbohydrate electrolyte sports drinks can enhance endurance by as much as 22% compared to consuming a low-calorie pre-event drink. Endurance athletes also benefit from higher carbohydrate stores, as depleted glycogen levels may lead to muscle protein breakdown and lower immune and central nervous system function. Athletes not adapted to low-carb diets are encouraged to maintain glycogen levels through pre-competition meals to prevent protein breakdown and to fuel both the immune and nervous systems. However, those adapted to low carbohydrate diets can rely more on fat stores for energy, although glycogen depletion may still suppress immune and CNS function. To prevent stomach discomfort, athletes should test foods in practice. Trying foods in practice can help determine if they sit well in the stomach. Avoid high fat and high fiber foods. Both slow down digestion, which can lead to cramping. Limit sugar alcohols. Found in sugar-free products, sugar alcohols like sorbitol and mannitol are linked to bloating, gas, and cramping and may cause a laxative effect. Proper hydration is essential, especially before long events or competitions in hot weather. Prehydrating several hours before exercise can give the body time to absorb fluids and for any excess to be eliminated as urine. Athletes can monitor hydration with a urine-specific gravity (USG) reading below 1. Athletes who are prone to nausea, diarrhea, or anxiety, or those competing in high-impact sports might benefit from consuming carbohydrates at least 4 hours before competition. Athletes should consider their individual needs and record what they eat before events, including timing and how it affects performance. This can help refine their nutrition plans over time. A well-planned pre-competition meal supports hydration, maximizes blood glucose, and boosts glycogen stores while preventing hunger. This approach not only fuels athletes physically, but can also offer peace of mind by reducing worries about nutrition on competition day. Carbohydrate loading is a well-established technique used to enhance muscle glycogen levels before long-duration aerobic endurance events. The depletion of glycogen stores in muscles and the liver leads to fatigue during extended aerobic exercises. Carbohydrate loading seeks to prevent this by maximizing glycogen stores in the days leading up to the event, thereby ensuring carbohydrate availability in the later stages of performance. This strategy is especially useful for endurance athletes such as distance runners, road cyclists, and cross-country skiers who are at a high risk of depleting glycogen. It may also benefit athletes in other types of aerobic endurance sports. Carbohydrate loading generally involves increasing carbohydrate intake in the days before competition while gradually tapering off exercise. For optimal results, many regimens recommend 3 days of high carbohydrate consumption combined with a reduction in training, followed by complete rest the day before the event. Athletes should aim for about 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight each day. This intake level can boost muscle glycogen stores by 20% to 40% above typical levels. For marathon runners, an intake of 10 to 12 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight during the 36 to 48 hours before their event is often recommended. Research shows that carbohydrate loading is effective in men. However, findings for women have been less consistent. For example, one study on female runners found that while those consuming more carbohydrates had a greater carbohydrate use during exercise, there was no significant difference in performance between the different groups. Another study indicated that men significantly increased their glycogen stores, while female athletes did not, possibly due to either inadequate carbohydrate intake, insufficient total calorie intake, or gender-based differences in glycogen storage capabilities. In a follow-up study, researchers examined glycogen storage in well-trained male and female athletes. Subjects followed 3 different diet regimens for 4 days: a high carbohydrate diet with 75% of calories from carbohydrates, a high carbohydrate diet plus additional calories with a 75% carbohydrate composition, and a 34% increase in total calories, or a regular daily diet. Men on both the high carbohydrate and high carbohydrate plus extra calories diets achieved significantly higher glycogen levels than on the regular diet. However, women only showed increased glycogen storage with the high carbohydrate plus extra calories diet. For the men, carbohydrate intake during the high carbohydrate phase reached an average of 7.9 grams per kilogram of body weight, while the women consumed an average of 6.4 grams per kilogram. This suggests that previous studies' failure to show enhanced performance from carbohydrate loading in women may have resulted from insufficient total carbohydrate intake. Supporting this theory, a study on female cyclists found that those who followed a moderate carbohydrate diet for 3 or 4 days, followed by a high carbohydrate diet for the same duration, showed significant increases in glycogen stores and a longer time to exhaustion. So this contrasts with those who remained on the moderate carbohydrate diet throughout. Furthermore, studies show that glycogen storage capacity within 4 hours after exercise does not differ between men and women when they consume the same amount of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight immediately and 1 hour post-exercise. However, women may have greater glycogen storage potential during the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle compared to the early follicular phase due to hormonal influences. Carbohydrate loading can help mitigate these variations, offering stable glycogen storage regardless of cycle phase. Female athletes may face challenges with carbohydrate loading due to total calorie intake. Those consuming less than 2,400 calories daily may find it difficult to reach the carbohydrate levels necessary for effective glycogen storage. Therefore, women may need to increase their overall caloric intake in addition to consuming a higher carbohydrate diet to reach optimal glycogen storage levels. Although carbohydrate loading is most frequently studied in endurance athletes, some research has explored its effects in high-intensity sports. In one study, professional soccer players increased their carbohydrate intake from an average of 46% to 65% of their daily calories 2 days before testing. This change led to an improvement in total distance run, with players covering approximately 17.1 kilometers or 0.9 kilometers more than when on the lower carbohydrate diet. However, responses to this diet varied significantly among the athletes, with some showing minimal gains in distance. This variability suggests that the benefits of carbohydrate loading may differ by individual and sport. Another study tested carbohydrate loading's impact on resistance training performance by comparing high and moderate carbohydrate diets over 4 days. Participants performed 4 sets of 12 maximal jump squats, and results showed no significant difference in performance between the high and moderate carbohydrate groups. This suggests that carbohydrate loading may not enhance power performance in brief, high-intensity resistance activities. The effectiveness of carbohydrate loading varies between individuals, even among aerobic endurance athletes. Athletes should experiment with carbohydrate loading in training to assess its impact and address any potential side effects, such as temporary weight gain from water retention associated with increased glycogen storage. Knowing how different types of carbohydrates affect them is essential, as some carbohydrates can cause gastrointestinal discomfort. For example, oligosaccharides found in beans, onions, and some nutrition bars are quickly fermented by gut bacteria, leading to gas and bloating. Similarly, high fiber foods, although typically beneficial, can cause digestive issues if consumed in large amounts close to competition. A sample daily meal plan for a 68 kilogram, 150 pound athlete following carbohydrate loading recommendations might look like this. Breakfast, oatmeal with banana, honey, and a glass of orange juice, providing carbohydrates, vitamins, and hydration. Lunch, brown rice with grilled chicken breast and a side of steamed vegetables, offering carbohydrates with a moderate protein serving. Snacks, fruit such as apples, oranges, or pears, along with pretzels and a low-fat yogurt, easy to digest carbohydrate sources. Dinner, pasta with marinara sauce and a small amount of lean meat or plant-based protein. Evening snack, whole wheat toast with jam or a sports drink to top off glycogen levels. To maximize glycogen storage, athletes should consume about 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight each day during the carbohydrate loading period. This approach can be effective in enhancing performance for endurance events, particularly when carbohydrate sources and timing align with individual athlete preferences and tolerances.